few films at its time touched the hearts of critics like this one did. A truly critically acclaimed classic. Released in 1950, directed by Irving Pitchell, A Christmas Wish or The Great Rupert really was a groundbreaking film for its time.
No, I've got to get the money. Forget the money is in the hole behind the bed.
With some stellar cast members as Jimmy Durante, Terry Moore, Tom Drake, and many, many more, and actors of which who would go on to star in famous films such as It's a Wonderful Life and It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And then of course there's Rupert the squirrel, who has many talents in this film. And now for the rarely heard, Grammy-winning song.
How about a dress rehearsal? Here. The curtain is up. You're on the stage. Stay right there when I tell you. Now get ready for our song and dance. Are you all set? Now, 1, 2. Squirrels adore the name, admire the fame of Rupert. He's in a class alone, the one and only Rupert. He jumps rope so gracefully, and you ought to see him climb a tree. Think of an acrobat and mister, that is Rupert. Think of a ballet star and you're not far from wrong. He taps his little toe and steals the show and takes your heart along. Now we've got to do the dancing humor. And it's got to be perfect, for everything depends on how we do it. Now, you all set? Here we go.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Now in terms of writing, that was a flawless song. Now if you noticed, there was slight differences between Rupert in some scenes and Rupert in the others, moving a slight bit more robotic. And there's a good reason for this. I'll tell you. Back in the 1950s, there really was no PETA, or anything like it. George Pal, the creative genius behind the animated squirrel, his original attempt to create a squirrel puppet, let's just say, didn't turn out the way it could have. George Pal would be working late nights away from his family, working on a squirrel puppet that would never be used ultimately by the studios due to its lack of quality in comparison to his previous works. Rumor has it, Pal couldn't take it anymore, and he decided to take a coffee break. That on his coffee break, George Pal was approached by a shadowy figure that offered George fame and fortune in return for Rupert's soul. In turn, George accepted. Supposedly, interns would capture glimpses of George Pal in the break room, singing ancient squirrel incantations to himself and over Rupert. There was no escape for poor Rupert. Rumor has it that George Pal took Rupert home one day after filming and came back the next morning with a slightly different, more robotic Rupert. In short, Rupert left that of a true legacy of happiness and joy to children for generation after generation that we will never forget. Whether Rupert had a peaceful passing or a malevolent one will ever remain a mystery. Thank you again for tuning in to Famous Stars and Tragic Mysteries. And deaths? Question mark?